Good morning, and I felt that I would have a better time of actually showing the process of assembling my crossbow and stringing and unstringing if I was inside. Well, you have multiple parts. There's the gaff lever, which this is simple. It's just one pin that goes through there. You know, and you'll see this. The pin will be in this portion of it, so you just pull it out and then drive it back into. I'll mark the hole, but it's the back hole, the hole that's up here, you know, not the one that's closest to the thing. So that is simple. The first part is putting the prod and the ring, hooks into this gaff lever, onto the system. I mentioned yesterday in the video I did, I was down there, I shot my flat earth glider and a couple bolts, that you can use a sling. And what I meant by a sling is putting a sling through the ring and using it for a stirrup, because it's not unreasonable to pull this back because it's not a 200, 300 pound crossbow. You can easily do it with your feet. Just put a sling through there, or else instead of putting a ring, put a sling or a stirrup on there. It's a matter of thinking it through. But I've got number one, the long string. It's yellow and black, and you notice it doesn't have any loops on it. The longest one is the one that attaches it together. And so I shall just get this thing centered here. Want to have it even Steven. Oh, you can see this is just stick the string through the big hole. Grab both ends and just make sure it's my arms. Come here, come here. There we go. I have that set. Okay, it is even. On the prod, there is an arrow. Arrow means up. Slightly asymmetrical. If you did it the opposite, it wouldn't cause any great harm, but just kind of slide it in there. Where do we go? What do we want it now? Just jam it in there. I like working inside because it's on the carpet here. I'm not going to scratch that thing up. And you have started the process. It's simply right through there. Don't worry about your ring yet. And when you tie these off, it's self-tightening, so you don't feel that you need to like really jimmy down here, but you do want to make it as tight as possible. Through here, this side then goes, because you want to get it to the opposite. This one goes through here. Helps to have three hands. Come on, you. Get through there. Of course, it's cooperating. That leather thing over there is obstructing it. There we go. And then it doesn't matter if you go this way or this way. You just want to get two wraps on there. Still a little snotty. Might as well go over the top here too. Doing my best to keep everything tight. Again, you're going to be able to cinch it down here a little bit. Okay, now it's time for the ring. I've got two wraps on this. This is I forget, maybe 20 strands of B50, so this is pretty strong. Let's stick that through the ring. Now I'm going to do an X pattern on this thing. So let's see. Down, pull that ring up, rotate this, and I'm going to do an X through here. So that one is going to go to that side, that's going to go to this side, just an X pattern. If it's not an X pattern, no harm, no foul. You're going to get 2 wraps on the prod itself and then 2 wraps through the ring. So that's plenty strong. That's a lot of B50. I forget how many pounds a single strand can hold, like remarkable, like 50 pounds or something like that. So when you have 20, this is a pretty strong system. Cinching it down. I'm going to do a second X through here. Actually, one would probably do it, but we're going to do 2. Come on, you. Nice clean X pattern. And then I can pinch this one, you know, keeping it tight. Bring that back through. Palm of my hand is holding this one down. Cat was going to knock over my tripod. Okay, there we go. Not too much wobble in there. And the way you lock these off, I'm pinching the one that I'm not working on at the moment. Let's keep it down. Pencil. Slide this up. You want to get some space with the pencil through here because you are now going to get closer. Here's the scheme. I'm going to slide that through and pull it up. And the reason I'm doing this style is I want to get this thing up as high as possible, because what this does is it pinches it off. Pinches it together to tighten it. I have to be better with my words, pick my big boy words. See, I'm kind of doing a around here and then under there and then pull it up and then go around the other side. And then it's just a square knot. This thing, when you take the pencil out, will cinch things down. I really don't think that if you don't have like a super knot, nothing is going to happen. You remove the pencil, then the stuff can't move that much because it's pretty tight and there's a lot of friction. It's just a square knot. And then I just kind of feed it under there. When I pull the pencil out, it cinches it down. You can see if you're using it. I doubt that it's going to come undone. On the other side, let's see, pull. Haunted cats. Mittens has got issues. Good. Not too clumsy. Under it. Then pull. Then I'm going to go under it. Then over. Just kind of a little weave thing going on. And again, you want to climb up here so you're starting to pinch that off. Move that pencil up. Back around here. And anytime you feel that you're running out of enough length to do a simple little knot, square knot, then tie it off. Now I'm going to just stick that end under there. When I pull the pencil out, it's going to grip it. And you're not going to have it so, you know, it's completely like stiff. As long as you're stringing it, unstringing it, drawing it back from the center, it's going to stay. So there we have it. Now the next step, you're dealing with some strings here. And you can see there is a short. The short, very thick section. This is going to be your safety. So I'm going to just put that there. The thinner one, this was red, but the red was coming off on the prod, so I changed it with black. It's just a simple, not a brawny one, but strong enough that just has a loop on the end. This is for unstringing. The one that's fully served and has one loop is the crossbow string. So I'm going to stick, first of all, the 2-loop one on here. Step 1. Put the 2-loop one on here. Just stick it right there. The crossbow string will go through. It has to go through both these loops. This is the Mobius strip effect. And so it's through both loops. Everything is over the top. See that? And then I'm going to stick this over here from the bottom. Goes over and around and then through. Just like I'm tying off my paddle bow. You can see the same knot on how to string and unstring a paddle bow. Goes under, then it goes back this way. I'll stick this over again. How to string and unstring a paddle bow. It's the same knot. And then 2 square knots. Now I have it to the point where I'm going to use the wedges. See this loop? It's going to go over here, but you can't put this loop over here because it's too tight. I need to do my first stringing. And so I can use the gaff lever, or put it on the ground, put your feet on it, but I'm going to use the gaff lever. Push down there. And you notice I took the rabbit fur off here just for ease. Now this is where you have to be very careful. I don't do it, but do as I say, not as I do. Never set it like this or it's going to trigger it. On upside down. And this is how you lock it. Let me get this. It's upside down. Don't get your hands in here. Don't have your hands there, because if it flexes, you're going to get messed up. And so, take this. Be careful not to pop that trigger. I tied it to the crossbow string. This is how I secure it. Then I go over the back, underneath it, over the back again, underneath the string, and I'll show you close up of what this is over here, and then you can just do a simple secure thing. And so that is secured. Whenever you're unstringing, stringing, tying knots, what have you, and so let's get this thing back over here in the right direction. This has to go. Oh, I did that wrong. I did it wrong. Instead of cutting it, okay, so I'm going to untie this thing. Be very careful. So let me think. What did I do? Oh, I know. I'm doing this on purpose. Of course I messed up while I'm doing this. Okay. I didn't want to stick that through the loops. My bad. I'm going to retie that. I put it over, then under, then over again, and then 2 square knots. And it doesn't have to be super tight. Let's see if I did it correctly. Tying it onto my crossbow string. Down, bolt clip under it. Then just secure it. There we go. Almost did it again, so that's good. I didn't want to have the string through the loops. Now notice that double loop string is over that wedge and it's over this wedge. Now it is time to just for liability's sake, I'm saying always tie this off whenever you're fiddling around with it. Do I do this step for just putting that black string on? I'm not gonna say. Don't get your feet too far in here. Sweet. I'll take this off. And this is what you're left with. This thing is over the wedges. If you have really strong hands, you can probably do that without that one step, but this is where you need to be careful because now you're dealing with some serious weight. It's basically like fully charged, so you need to have this securing string on here now, or else you could break fingers. Being careful never to stick your hand between that. After the first wrap, it's somewhat safe. The second wrap is pretty darn safe. Now it is secured. 3 wraps on this with your securing string, your locking string. And so I've got, I guess don't do this cord wrapped onto this all the way around so you can bump that trigger and it's not going to be able to trigger that. Now, working on this side, that gaffing lever, I am going to stick my crossbow string through these loops. Don't let this trigger hit anything, even though it's secured. You want this snug, but you don't want to tighten this too much. So I went over the top and then through. And then continue it over the top, then under. Now, that's what happens when you don't drink coffee. Through that, then reverse it. Go around this way. And again, how to string and unstring a paddle ball. A couple square knots. Just leave that tied on. Now the magic happens. Untie your securing string. Stay away from that trigger. Stay away from the cap. Shoot. As soon as you take this thing off, consider it somewhat dangerous. You don't want to get your hands in here. You don't want to be back here. I'm not even going to worry about taking this thing off all the way. There we go. Off one wedge, off the other wedge. See, that's the magic on it. So it is strung. It's probably, you know, the maximum you want. I tighten this thing too much, but after a few shots it'll probably relax. So measured from here, 3.5 inches. That's not excessive. Don't have it 4. really should be 3, measuring from the inside of the bow to this, 3, so you're not getting too much of a severe bend here. And then for stringing it, if you have a sling through here, you put your foot through the sling, or else you can just use this, of course. Centered, you want the same distance on either side. Then it's live. Stupid cats. Now to unstring it, it would be nice if you could still use this, but you can't because you're trapping it. And so what I am going to do is I'm going to take this loop string, just think it through, never have your hand near the trigger when it's under pressure. Take this second loop string, and everything has to be on this side. If you think this through, it makes sense. And really, once you get this thing tied off, your unstringing string, you can leave that loop there. And so what we have is this thing. It's looped around here. One goes underneath the crossbow string, the other one goes above. You're using the wedges to secure it. And so I'm going to pull this back. This one's a little weird because it's a split string. And so it's possible if you bump it, one of the strings is going to jump off there, but extremely important that you use your securing string at this step, because when you're untying this yellow thing, you can't just slide it off, you actually have to untie it. You'd be in trouble if this thing slips off. There. Be very careful where you have your hand. There. Every time you wrap this around here, you're safer, until finally you could bounce the trigger and it's not going to set it off. I always work with it upside down so there's no way of hitting the trigger, but being very careful. Untying it from this side, really, as long as your hand's not back here, you're pretty safe. And it's a nice thick string, so that knot comes out pretty easy. There we go. Gotta be careful at this step. I'd probably suggest take a rubber band, and slide it down there so this bolt clip doesn't get in your way. It's a little bit of a thinking game. But as long as you keep the string secured so you're not going to bump the trigger, you're relatively safe. You can, like I did, I could say I made a mistake on the string there just to show you that it happens, but I was safe at all times because I always had that string secured when it was pulled back with that little cord. And so there we go. I'm going to attach that, and if you see it in the videos, when I'm shooting it, you can keep all your strings, just kind of wrapped around here in some way, so you always have your stringing and unstringing strings handy. little cord. That's good for just might as well have that tight on there. I'll do this again. Coming up from there, thumb underneath the prod, under, around this way, not around this way, but around this way, under again, and then just 2 little square knots. And that does it. Thank you for watching, and I shall check this out. Hopefully it came out clear enough so you can see what the heck is going on.